Hello. Hello. Johnny Gonzalez, aka Upside Down Consciousness. Today, I'm gonna bring out my big light and I'm gonna flash it on relationships. Yes, this right here is, before I continue, this is only my opinion. I'm not asking anybody to believe what I believe or to accept what I accept. I just want to share some insight that may be useful to some. Disregard it if you don't. I mean, it's like any other information that we receive. So be mindful of that before you proceed. Because my viewpoints on relationships are coming from my own experiences with them. So I'm not trying to justify what anybody else is doing. So let's continue. So over the years, I've really gone through a shift in how I perceive reality. It's now gotten to the point where I no longer even question what's occurring in my life. I no longer even worry or stress about things that surface in the physical, because I've devoted so much time on the mental and the inner dialogue and how my emotions are and where my mental states of mind. So when you start to go down that path, the physical existence becomes secondary to that. So when I originally believed in relationships, it was always a monogamous relationship. It was always, you have to find someone to be with, and that's the only person you could be with, and that's it. But I was never able to do it. I would go times where I was faithful to a partner, but for the truth of the matter, I've never been able to maintain a relationship with just one person. Why? I no longer ask that question anymore. I've learned to just accept it. And as I mentioned, when I went through these shifts, my visions of relationships also shifted as well. So I became more comfortable with accepting the fact that, hey, maybe you don't need to be with just one person. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to encourage anybody to partake in this or anything like that. Just listen and hear me out and make your own decision based off of what you hear. But I've always struggled to be open with myself. So I feel that's caused issues with trying to open up with another person. And I know a lot of people could relate to that. When we're told to eat meat our whole entire lives, we don't second guess it or think about it. We just do it. Regardless if we get sick, regardless if we start to get all these conditions, regardless if the health is declining. Until someone tells you that, hey, well, don't eat meat no more and you'll get healthier. So then you try it and you experience it and you go through it and you understand that, wow, I made a lot of bad decisions in my past because I was programmed a certain way. It's exactly the same thing with relationships, in my opinion. Is we're taught to be, oh, you gotta find someone, you gotta marry them, and you gotta be with just them, and you gotta give yourself to them, and that's your possession, and if you don't, you gotta get married, and you have to follow these guidelines. And I mean, that, I'm not saying it's wrong, because where I stand is you could find someone like that can provide you everything that you need, but I feel that's a rarity. Looking at relationships now, how many relationships do you know? Think about this. Do you know that both of them love each other? Both of them do what they both love to do every single day. Both of them are practicing the mucusless diet, which is a vegan, raw vegan diet. I use the mucusless diet healing system information because that's the truth of what a vegan should be. So you have to have those two principles. You have to be taking care of yourself and growing with yourself. And there's no complacency. There's no stagnant of growth. It's always going up. How many relationships are like that nowadays, who are not a part of a society, that are not doped up on medications and stimulants and eating all these foods that are destructive to the body, that are exercising regularly, that are living in laws of nature? How many relationships like that do you actually know? Truth of the matter is there's not many like that. So who's to say that the platform that we're told what relationships should be is correct? So when you look at it like that, you're not going to find those qualities in just anybody. You have to find a special someone that is on the same path as you. Well, most individuals don't view relationships like that. Oh, I need it for the sex, or I need it because this girl's got a big old booty, and this person's so nurturing, or they provide me with what I need materialistically. So you have all these relationships that are trapped, that are stuck in these low levels of growth, if any, along with destructive lifestyle patterns. How can you base that off of anything of high growth, of high magnitude, of something that is not, as I said, it's not normal? You don't see that. And this applies to everybody. This is not just, I'm not the exception. This is not just what I view. I mean, really think about it. You have to really consider a lot of the details to this. So relationships now, I kind of, at some point, just like, I'm not going to say it just happened instantaneously, but through time, it gradually started to shift and change. And relationships now became more along the lines of energy exchanged. So if you're getting good energy from someone and you like it and it benefits you and you're growing and you're focused on yourself and you're focused on your own growth, and that person accommodates you and helps you to grow, but at the same time that's occurring with them, they're also going through the same growth and the same tribulations of fighting their own inner demons and their own traumas and pains that they've encountered, and fixing themselves and healing themselves, and they're pursuing their own life goals. That's all this is. We just mesh with each other. The way I like to explain it is, we're all traveling up a hill, and if you're walking with someone and they decide to go left or they decide to go right, it doesn't mean that you're never going to see them again, or that they're a better or worse person. They're just going in a different direction. Maybe later on in the future you'll run back into each other again. Who knows? But the idea is you focus on the hill that you're going up. When that is a focus, it doesn't matter who's to the left of you or to the right of you, because you are focused on going up. The people that are going up with you, they're to the left of you, they're to the right of you. They're just joining you. They're not doing it for you. This is where the confusion takes place, because you get with someone who's not growing in certain areas, then they hold you back. Or you get a person who likes to do things that are reckless and drinking and smoking and living a lifestyle of destruction. You're trying to be healthy, you're trying to be vegan, but there's that imbalance. And I don't give a shit what anybody says, those imbalances do matter. And it may not physically surface, but they do exist still on deeper, more spiritual levels, that energies are exchanged. So I've come to the realization that I want to help whoever I'm around. I don't want to hurt nobody. So you have to be upfront about this, and you can only work with individuals who are like-minded. So I went through a stage where, like, one day out of the blue, I'm like, you know what, I cannot engage sexually with a person who is eating meat or who doesn't practice a lifestyle of growth with themselves. And I went cold turkey. Now, mind you, I'm coming from a very open lifestyle, and at some point it just hit me, and I was like, well, I can't do this anymore. no one forced me, no one made anything, give me an ultimatum to say, hey, you have to do this or you have to do that. No, it just happened. So this is why I suggest that, hey, I'm not saying I want you to do this, because this is something that I felt intuitively. So it helped me stop engaging with people that are not on that level. So for the past couple years now, my partners that I've been with has dropped significantly because of the fact that I have that awareness now. So going back to the relationship aspect, if you eliminate the people that I described that are having relationships, and you realize that they feel they need them for their own personal growth, or they need them for comfort, or they need them to for basically just for that support that you get when you're not able to give yourself that full support. That's what relationships are nowadays. And then eventually it just plateaus, and no one, you guys both don't go any higher. Now, there's exceptions to this, I believe, where you find somebody that you're compatible with and you could be with, and you realize that you love each other and you care for each other, and all of these things start to fit in, but you're excluding a lot of aspects like the diet, the mental states, the growth overall that never stops. A lot of those are not included in today's relationships. Those are not foundational priorities for most. So there's a lot of gray areas in this for sure. But the point of this though is evaluate your relationships regardless of who they're with, because each relationship you have is an energy exchanged. Sometimes you don't realize that on the physical, you don't experience it, but you feel it. If you're aware, if you're conscious of it, pay attention to how you feel around certain people. So I think we'll cut it with this video right here. If you have any questions or comments in regards to what we talked about today, go ahead and send them to me. I really plan to be very active on my channel. I have a lot of information that just kind of has been eating away at me to verbalize it, but I think the time's now, because we're coming to a shift, and the more we start to align with one another and we listen to individuals that share their experiences and their own growth, I think that's going to turn the switch on for a lot of people to grow. Much love to you all. Take care.